Hey Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. I've been keeping this one a little bit of a secret. The keen eyed out there may have noticed this box floating around in the background in some of our last videos of the graveyard. So come and check this out, right? This is a new panel from AORUS. It's the FV43U. It's a 43-inch, 144Hz 4K panel that supports HDMI 2.1, Xbox Series X, and the PS5. So let's check it out.
I'm sorry, but I can only shop in the primary language associated.
Stop. Why are you doing this to me? I've been using this monitor for just about 2 weeks now. I've been playing games on this thing basically non-stop in my spare time. I've been tinkering around with it and I've been really trying to see if this thing's any good. Spoiler alert, this thing's really, really good. And the keen-eyed viewers out there probably would have seen that the box for this has been in the background for plenty of our videos for weeks. The AORUS FV43U features a 43-inch VA QLED panel with a resolution of 3840 by 2160 with a peak brightness of 1000 nits. It also features a 144Hz refresh rate with DisplayPort 1.4 and a 120Hz refresh rate with HDMI 2.1. Yes guys, this is a VA panel. There's nothing wrong with VA, especially at a size like this. It quite literally makes no difference. It's a flat panel with a response time of 1 millisecond. It also features AMD's FreeSync Premium Adaptive Sync technology, but also works with G-Sync without any issues at all. And I did test this. This is the only way that I use this panel for the entire time and it worked flawlessly. The FV43U is an 8-bit panel with FRC, so it will allow you to enable 10-bit mode. It supports 150% of the sRGB color space, 97% of the DCI-P3 color space, and 99% of the Adobe RGB color space. The FV43U has a 178-degree wide viewing angle with a 4000:1 contrast ratio. The FV43U also has standard 200mm VESA mounting, but it can be adapted using something like this. So this bracket here is something that I purchased to test a little bit later with another video I'm going to do with the monitor. It basically allows you to convert it from the 200mm mounting for VESA mounting to any of the other sizes. And you can see I've already put the bracket on here. And you can wall mount this like a TV if you like, but yeah, it's completely up to you. But I'm gonna be testing it with this thing later on. For connectivity, it's got an optical audio output, a headphone jack, 2 HDMI 2.1 ports, a single DisplayPort 1.4 port that supports display stream compression, a USB Type-C port, a USB Type-B uplink port for the 2 USB 3.0 Type-A ports, and also to use for the KVM and for the software control. The monitor also has an internal KVM which Gigabyte added to the M27Q. They're kind of doing this on a bunch of their panels now. There's a video about the M27Q in the top right hand corner right now, and this monitor works the same way with the KVM if you're really interested in that feature. Check out that other video just so it explains a bit more, so I don't have to go over it in this video. But I think that KVMs are going to be pretty standard with most monitors going forward from Gigabyte, to be honest. The panel has two 12-watt speakers built in with a feature AORUS is calling space audio, but let's have a listen. The built-in speakers don't sound terrible. In the other modes that aren't the standard mode or the FPS modes, the speakers have this fake surround sound that adds reverb and it tries to expand the stereo separation, but to my trained ears, it can sound a little bit muddy in the mid-range and just a little bit too much treble at the top end, making it sound like a bowl of mashed potatoes. The only space audio preset other than the standard mode that I already mentioned that is worth using is the FPS preset, as I found it's a nice balance of the EQ and the stereo separation isn't too wide and it doesn't have any of that fake reverb, but ultimately just use headphones, right? You don't really need to use the speakers unless you're using this like a TV, but just use headphones. On the flip side of that, these speakers are really loud. At 1% volume, they're more than loud enough. At 25%, it's stupidly loud. At 50% volume, which in truth is as loud as I could handle on the other side of the house, these speakers came alive and sounded pretty decent. However, they were far too loud to be anywhere near the panel at that volume level. It's really a double-edged sword. So you turn it up all the way, but you just can't be anywhere near the thing. It's just too loud. The out-of-the-box calibration is spot on for a gaming monitor. I actually didn't touch any settings on the panel other than reducing the overall brightness in SDR. Now, I just didn't need to do anything. It was just good as it was. And that's kind of the thing with this panel. Even from the get-go, I felt like it was really impressive. Now, as I do with all these monitors, in SDR mode, like I already said, I did reduce the brightness to 20% because it was just too bright. The only reason why I mention this is because of the room that I test monitors in, which is this room here, and it's really dark all of the time. And if you have it too bright, it's just gonna burn your eye holes out of your skull like you're staring into the sun, and you just don't wanna do that. It's gonna strain your eyes, so I feel like it's easier to equalize the brightness of any panel in whatever room you're in, just to suit it to that brightness level of the ambient light, because you can damage your eyes if you're not careful. The build quality is excellent, and it's very premium, and you're just not gonna have any issues with this panel. It's a very gamery design on the back side. It may not be your cup of tea, but I don't think it matters too much because most people will probably wall mount a panel like this. So yeah, you probably just won't see the back of the panel at all. And that's the thing. I already know people are gonna say stuff like, oh, this is just a TV. Well, that's not entirely true. It's got a bezel, which is fine for a monitor this size. It's got a semi-matte screen surface. At this size, I just don't think the bezel is going to be an issue at all. The stand attaches to each corner with 2 screws, and quite obviously, there's no adjustment. You just don't need it with a panel like this. The FV43U has a little nub-style joystick on the bottom edge of the screen for the menu system, and it's really easy to use and everything's easy to understand. It's the same layout as every other AORUS panel. However, you don't really need to use it because you can use OSD Sidekick like with the other AORUS panels. Basically, it's a software-based solution that allows you to enable crosshairs. You can change brightness, contrast, picture-in-picture. You can do everything that you can do on the menu on the screen, but in software. And the only reason why they have these monitor joysticks on monitors like this is for people who use other operating systems that aren't Windows. And if you're new here, this is the part where I usually rant about a monitor not having Linux support, but I'll save you the heartache. There is no Linux support, but Gigabyte still needs to fix this eventually. And also, again, to address like comments that we get on other monitor videos about software integration, this applies to every monitor that has any type of software integration, regardless of who makes it. You need to attach the USB cable to use any of those features because it doesn't transfer that data over HDMI or DisplayPort alone. And now this is where it gets interesting, because if we go back and talk about the menu system, although it's technically not a TV, it does come with a basic remote. Now this remote is the same deal. It allows you to control the menu system. As you can see, I'm using the remote. It does allow you to control everything that you need with the remote, the same way that you would if you're using the little nub down the bottom of the screen. But now you might be thinking this is a bit of a weird feature for a monitor. But I think if people are wall mounting monitors, and some monitors have like buttons and stuff on the back, I think monitors need to include remote controls. I've been saying this for ages. They should just do it. Just give us remotes. It takes the guesswork of trying to reach around the back of the panel if you need to, or underneath, especially like I said, if you're wall mounting it and have multiple devices plugged in. Which leads me to the next thing. This panel supports 4K 120Hz with HDMI 2.1, although it's only 420 sampling. It also supports this on both the Xbox Series X and the PS5. This is not my Series X. I learned this from my mate next door. I just don't have one. I'm not much of a console gamer other than like Final Fantasy games, which is why I own a PS5, basically just for RPGs and when Gran Turismo like eventually comes out, whenever they decide to release that. Now, the panel itself is a VA panel, and I know the Pixel peepers out there, I can already read the comments. It's a VA panel, it's bad. No, it's not. This is a quantum dot VA panel. This panel slaps, simple as that. This panel is also HDR 1000 certified, and for the first time in a long time, the HDR on this panel is really good. The whole time I used this panel was with HDR enabled, and when I played games like COD, it felt like I was cheating because at times I could see absolutely everything in every lighting situation, and I loved it. And that kind of leads me into the next thing, gaming. For gaming, the AORUS FV43U is next level, right? The colors are excellent, the experience is excellent, and overall, to be honest, I'm gonna find it pretty hard to game on anything else after using this panel for so long, and here's why. At the right viewing distance, it's a nice mix of pixel density and size. For FPS games, it feels kind of like you're using aimbot because of just how responsive the panel is, and you can just see every little detail. For sim games, like Flight Sim, it's completely immersive. There's a tiny bit of ghosting in HDR mode that I didn't see in SDR mode, and very, very minimal backlight bleed on black screens. And honestly, this is not going to hinder what is otherwise a pretty unique gaming experience. The size of this thing on your desk is a bit weird. Like, look how massive this thing looks. But once you get used to it, there's lots to like about a panel like this. And that's the thing. If I really sit and think about it, there's nothing that I can think of that I don't like about the FV43U. It does everything it needs to do, and it does it really, really well. To be honest, I didn't think I could fall in love with a bit of technology, but this monitor is it, right? This is it. For gaming, this is my choice. And I just wouldn't have it any other way after using it for so long. You're getting great calibration, great performance, great color reproduction, and even for content creation, it's a beast with 99% of Adobe RGB coverage. And I already know other reviewers will come out and disagree with me, but honestly, if you love gaming and you're a regular consumer who doesn't need the fluff of a smart TV and wants the display for the express purposes of kicking back after a day of hard work and playing some games, again, this panel's it. This is the monitor. This is the one right here, right? But as all good things in the world at the moment, it does come at a price. Okay, you have to literally pay to play with a panel like this, but if money isn't an issue, then I'm just gonna have to recommend this thing. This video is not sponsored, right? This video is not sponsored. I'm not getting paid a cent for this. It's hard not to recommend this thing after using it for so long. So if you're interested in grabbing the AORUS FV43U, they're going for around $1,099 US or around 1,699 Australian dollars at the time of filming this video. Honestly, hand on heart, this thing is really good, and to use anything else after this is going to be quite strange. Now, if you've got any questions about this panel or anything that I mentioned in this video or the wallpaper or just anything, drop a comment down below. I was skeptical because usually I don't like gaming on panels this size. It's too big. I prefer ultra wide, but yeah, 2 weeks on this every night after filming and playing games on it. I mean, even ask the guys in Discord, in voice chat. I've been like talking this thing up the whole time I've been using it. It's phenomenal, guys. I highly recommend this thing. I can't believe I'm saying this, like, yeah, it's really good. Also wanted to add that we keep our monitor content in a nice and easy to digest format for people who might not understand what everything means or everything that I'm talking about with these panels. I like to leave these decisions in your hands if you're buying a monitor like this, to keep it simple. Not everyone's an expert. That's kind of what we're here for. Now, just with saying that, like, I know I'm a little bit excited about this panel, but it's been such a long time since I've used a monitor that has felt that different to anything else that I've used. Usually I'm just like, it's a monitor, like it's cool, like it does what you need it to do, but the size, the refresh rate, the fact that you can use HDMI 2.1 on the new gen consoles as well, it's kind of like a no-brainer if you're really into gaming, especially if you're like not quite a couch gamer, because I feel like it depends on the distance you sit away from your couch, but something like this on a desk for someone who's a serious console gamer, this is it. I reckon this is gonna be it. Especially with like a controller, right? So you're sitting there with the controller and most of the time you're playing, you're kind of sitting back. I don't know, maybe you sit forward. I don't know how you play, but when I play console, I'm like sitting back in my chair. So something like this is really good because you're getting that additional viewing angle. I also found that, and this is completely off the cuff, whatever, right? When I'm playing with this monitor, this is the setup I play on, I sit further back and it just feels right. Yep, feels right. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you hated the video, hit the dislike button twice. You like the music you heard here at some point in the video, Patreon, I make all the music, float plane for early access, all that jazz. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peek, we seek. Now, I'm gonna play around with the Xbox because I haven't had much time playing with the Series X, and now that it's here, and he's got Game Pass Ultimate, whatever it's called, I'm gonna download everything. Thanks for watching.